Hello everyone and welcome to my podcast. Today I am going to be presenting you with a radio fiction produced and written by me. I'm your host Naomi and I hope you enjoy. Amina is a 16-year-old exchange student from South Dakota, America. She is excited about her earned opportunity to participate in the exchange program where she will spend 2 months in London, England. Amina loves to travel, learn and experience other cultures. St. Wickham Constance is one of the most prestigious private schools in the world, so you can imagine Amina's eagerness to attend. It would be an immense upgrade from her regular Westlake High School in the depths of small town Pine Ridge. Amina arrived in England on a cold Saturday morning. Had a private tour of her new school for the next 2 months on Sunday afternoon and had school on Monday. It was a busy period for her, but at least she was familiarised with St. Wickham Constance. Amina's first commitment of the day was to attend tutor, or as they say in South Dakota, homeroom. As she entered, she was welcomed with a warm smile from her tutor, Mrs. Finch Daly. Her teacher cleared her throat and the room fell silent. All eyes landed on Amina. The teacher then announced, "Everyone, this is Amina. She is our exchange student, so please make her feel welcome." Amina appreciated this gesture and went and took a seat. The first culture shock Amina experienced was the absence of individual desks. She was sitting at a large table surrounded by 5 other students. Amina scouted her eyes around the table, analysing each person in her head. There was Toby, who was devouring a packet of cheese and onion crisps. Divine and Emmanuel, the twins, gossiping amongst themselves. Catalin, performing gymnastics with the chewing gum in her mouth. And Edward flicking through the pages of what appeared to be a dictionary. Edward looked up from his book and his eyes met Amina's. Amina smiled, however, he did not. Edward let out a scowl of disgust and Amina heard snickering coming from the surrounding tables. Amina's heart sank. Tutor was not going well, and she hoped the next class would be better. I hope all my classes aren't like this. The bell rang, which signified the end of tutor. Amina scurried her belongings together and speedily walked out of tutor. Suddenly, a hand gripped her. "Hey, Amina, wait up!" It was Catalin's hand that gripped her. Catalin explained to Amina that Edward is not a representation of St. Wickham Constance and that he was probably having a bad day. "Sorry about Edward. He's a bit grumpy today. The students at St. Wickham Constance are not usually like this. Where are you headed?" "Aha, it's fine, and the chemistry lab." Catalin went on to offer Amina assistance on finding her next class, and just like that, a new friendship was born. Time was creeping up on Amina fast. It was approaching the end of her first month out of 2 at St. Wickham Constance. Catalin and Amina had not spoken in days since their violent argument. With every waking moment, what was once a ripe camaraderie was fading away. Amina had noticed that since her falling out with Catalin, one of the most popular girls in the whole school, she was receiving dirty looks and snide comments. Why are people being so rude? Amina did not expect her remaining time, or time in general, at the private school to be that way. Amina felt unbidden. Amina had fallen victim to the bullies. Catalin's true colours had been revealed, and they were not a nice sight. Day in and day out, she would torment Amina and start malicious rumours about her. Students would racially abuse Amina and degrade her because of the colour of her skin. Although Catalin initiated the bullying, the racism that accompanied it was a representation of the racism that is embedded in England and its citizens. Because as the saying goes, you can lead a horse to the water, but you cannot force it to drink. Catalin could tell people how to disrespect Amina, however, they had a choice. They chose the wrong one. Amina was mentally starting to feel the effects of the racial bullying carried out by her white, so-called classmates. However, she was afraid to report it. There was a lack of representation within the guidance counsellor sector at the school, and after being called out of her name, she did not feel comfortable speaking to a white teacher, understandably. Mrs. Adu unloaded her boxes onto her new desk and let out a sigh of relief after freeing her hands of the weight. Amina walked into her office and instantly took a step back while squinting. The burst of natural light was refreshing and powerful to the naked eye. Mrs. Adu welcomed Amina into her office and in the same breath apologised for the mountain of boxes surrounding them. Mrs. Adu was soft-spoken and had a uniquely indescribable accent.
Ah, Amina. Welcome, come on in, sweetheart. So sorry for the boxes, love. It's a racket in here, haha.
Hello, no worries at all. Mrs. Adu and Amina began to discuss Amina's current circumstance. Tears filled Amina's eyes, her nose burning from the waterfall of tears ready to descend. Amina eventually released the floodgates and Mrs. Adu comforted her.
It's okay. It will be okay. No need to worry, sweetie.
Mrs. Adu devised a plan with Amina pertaining to moving forward and feeling comfortable again in the school, as well as those responsible for the racial bullying facing appropriate consequences for their vile actions. At the end of the session, Amina's gentle smile had been restored. When Amina stepped foot into her tutor room, she was taken aback, not necessarily in a good way or bad, but instead just surprised that the tutees were surrounding her desk with letters of apology. The letters may never erase the words that had been spat at Amina or reverse the cruel actions of the students. However, the gesture was appreciated. After Amina received her letters, Catalin and her clique were publicly suspended from school property. Although they received appropriate consequences, the racist words would never be just or feel amended for. You have just listened to the Spence Shortcuts podcast with your host, Naomi. Thank you for listening. All characters were voiced by myself, Naomi Spence, minus Mrs. Adu, who was voiced by special guest voice actress Dami Sani. Subscribe to my podcast on iTunes or Google Play. Catch my next episode.